Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We're going to finish up with Twelfth Night today by hearing from Fabian in Act 5, Scene 1, which is the only scene in Act 5. But we're at the point of the play where things are getting wrapped up. Sebastian and Viola found each other again, and that explained the whole confusion between Orsino having Cesario around and Sebastian running around and beating up Sir Andrew Aguecheek and Sir Toby and disavowing Antonio, and all of that was cleared up when they figured out that it's a set of twins. So that's cool. And Orsino has proposed to Viola, but is still hoping to see her dressed as a woman, but all of her clothes are like back on the boat with the captain. And Sebastian and Olivia already got married, so all of that's going on. And Malvolio has been released from his dark little cell, and he presented the letter that he had originally found to Olivia, being like, you know, you told me to do these things here in your letter. And Olivia took one look at it and she's like, I didn't write this. Maria wrote this. Mariah wrote this. That's like really obvious. And then Fabian jumps in and says, good madam, hear me speak. And let no quarrel nor no brawl to come taint the condition of this present hour, which I have wondered at. In hope it shall not. Most freely I confess myself and Toby set this device against Malvolio here upon some stubborn and uncourteous parts we had conceived against him. Maria writ the letter at Sir Toby's great importance, in recompense whereof he have married her. How with a sportful malice it was followed may rather pluck on laughter than revenge, if that the injuries be justly weighed that have on both sides passed. So this is Fabian coming clean. He's like, you know, I hope people aren't too terribly upset about this, but we were a little bit upset with some things that Malvolio had done. So at Toby's suggestion, Maria wrote this letter to just be like a playful jest, not something that should require any sort of vengeance if we take into consideration the things that Malvolio had done to us that made us write the letter in the first place. Like, this just got him back, so like now we're all even. And because Maria did this per Toby's suggestion, Toby has decided that he will marry Maria. So as we all know, comedies end in marriage, tragedies end in death. We've got 3 marriages ready to happen here. But Malvolio, before that happens, Malvolio is a little bit miffed at all of this, and he decides that he's going to go off and he swears revenge on everybody as he sort of storms off. And Orsino's like, somebody go after him because he still has to tell us about the sea captain. So go and get him. And in the meantime, everybody else, come on inside, we'll get everybody married, we'll eat some food, and then we'll go on from there. So as they start to go into Duke Orsino's place, instead of an epilogue to the play, we get Feste singing a song, which is technically more than 12 lines long, but I haven't done other songs, except for one of Ophelia's, sort of, back in Hamlet. So yeah, at the end of the song, Feste tells everybody that the play is over and asks for applause, and instead of an epilogue, we end with a song. We end on a note of joy, and that is Twelfth Night, or What You Will, which might go back to the theory that Shakespeare might have named it Twelfth Night or What You Will, just along the lines of this is something light and fun and happy and easy to watch. So, you know, you want something like that, you want something sweet, a nice sweet comedy, have what you will sort of thing. But it is that kind of a play. And unlike some of Shakespeare's other comedies that do have an element of like horror in them, if you look at The Winter's Tale, Hermione dies and her son kills himself and a man gets eaten by a bear. And even in Much Ado About Nothing, the situation that Hero was put in was incredibly dramatic for that time period. And depending on how you play it, it could be really bad today too. But in this play, sort of the worst that happens is Malvolio gets locked up for a little while and Antonio gets locked up for a little while, but then they're both apologized to and released. So it's not, there isn't like the threat of death or complete ruin in this play that there is in some of Shakespeare's other plays. So it's definitely one that you can take the family to if you want to introduce younger family members or friends to Shakespeare. Like, this might be a good place to start. It's pretty light, it's pretty easy to follow, and the whole yellow stockings thing it's always fun to watch because they always make it really silly. But anyway, that's Twelfth Night, and this was episode 1546, and we've made it to the end of Shakespeare's traditional canon. This is the length and breadth of this project as I initially intended it to be, and I'm so grateful that you're here watching. I'm so grateful that I've been able to do this, and I would love to hear your thoughts. If you started watching in some of the later plays, maybe go back and watch some of the earlier ones and tell me what you think. I would love to hear what you thought of this play, what you think of the other ones, what you think of these videos, all of that. I love getting feedback. I love that you leave comments. But the other fun thing about doing something for 1,546 days is that you get really used to it. I'm just sort of in a rhythm now where I do something with Shakespeare every day, and I like that, which fortunately, they've decided a couple of the plays that were part of the Apocrypha are actually now, they should be considered part of the canon. And even though they weren't in the first folio, the Apocrypha were other plays where when scholars were examining them, they were looking at like word usage and cadence and themes and all these sorts of things, and they determined that Shakespeare probably had some contributions to those plays, and there's a handful that were part of this Apocrypha, these other plays that had ties to Shakespeare but were maybe not written 100% by him. But there's a couple that they've decided now, just within the last 4.5 years that I've been doing this, probably have enough Shakespearean content to be considered part of the canon. And I learned this, I'm looking at my Shakespeare app on my phone and looking at the plays, flipping through to make sure I've done all of them, and I see all of a sudden there's Edward III and Sir Thomas More in the list. I was like, how did I miss these? It's because they're recent additions to the canon. They weren't in the folio, but scholars have decided they have enough Shakespearean content to qualify for being part of his canon. So we're going to keep going. Tomorrow, for New Play Day, we're going to start in on Edward III, which is a completely new play to me, so it'll be fun as we discover it together. And yeah, there's plenty more Shakesyear to go. That's sort of the fun part of this project. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for New Play Day. Mwah.